I'll get to you in a minute. I want to get to my buddy Rachel Baribeau in Tuscaloosa. RB, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, TB. How are you?
Oh, we're hanging in there. Listen, Rachel, let me start with you. You went to Auburn. For lack of a better term, you know what I'm talking about here, and I've heard Auburn people talking about it. Could there be, if Auburn loses to Alabama, could there be a Cam Newton factor where the voters get a little nervous and maybe they vote for somebody else when they really think Auburn's the best team?
You know, you would hope not. You would ultimately hope not. You know, the Heisman and also the national championship is about what you do on the field. But we all know that voters are subjective. They're human beings, and sometimes they have agendas. They're not computers. That's why they're called humans. You would obviously hope not. But, yeah, there are some people that may have some thoughts and be holding things back and have a prejudice against Cam Newton because of allegations that, as of yet, Tony, and you said this, have not been proven.
Yeah, well, BJ, let me start with you, Dan. I know you like Boise. You want Boise and TCU to have a chance. You tell me, if Auburn goes 12-1, wins the SEC championship, would you put them number 2? Would you go with Boise or TCU?
I think if they're 12-1, they go on to win their SEC championship ball game versus South Carolina. They will have beaten South Carolina twice this season.
Right.
I think they're still a number 2 football team. Although, and I actually want Boise and I want TCU to be overlooked because I think there's going to be a huge outcry.
You just want to blow up the BCS.
And here's something else real quickly. You kept saying people are going to think this, they're going to think this. Too much thinking. It should be figured out on the field. That's why we need a playoff, so we won't have to think.
Yes.
Well, you're living proof of that right there, BJ. Hey, look, listen, the best intelligence I have from talking to the numbers crunchers is if Boise wins on Friday, they're playing Nevada, and Auburn loses to Alabama, they're going to jump TCU. Over TCU at number 3, and they're going to jump to number 2. And again, if Boise is sitting there at number 2, Rachel, I'm going to ask you, if we get the championship Saturday and Boise's at number 2 and Oregon's at number 1 and Auburn is down there maybe at number 4, how nervous are these Auburn people going to be next Saturday?
They're going to be freaking out. They're going to be biting their fingernails, hiding in a corner. You know why? Because of 2004, Tony,
yep.
They were robbed. Auburn was robbed of the chance to be able to play for the national championship in 2004. And look, it's not something that just SEC fans or Auburn fans feel. It's something that the whole country felt. You know, when you go around as a graduate from Auburn and you tell people, you know, around the country that you graduated from there, that one of the first things they tell you is, man, I'm sorry about 2004, because everybody knows that they were robbed. So, yeah, the answer is they will be nervous and with good reason.
All right, guys, good stuff. I appreciate it. Lots more to come on the Tony Barnhart Show when we return. Okay, rejoining us now to discuss the big one in Tuscaloosa, Rachel Baribeau, who's uniquely qualified to talk about the Iron Bowl. She's a graduate of Auburn University, but earns her living now covering the University of Alabama and the SEC for TideSportsExtra.com, the video component for the Tuscaloosa News. Rachel, I gotta start right here. You're down in Tuscaloosa. You live with this stuff 24 hours a day. Right now, as we sit here and talk, Rachel, how would you describe the mood and the excitement level in Tuscaloosa with Auburn coming to town?
People are excited, Tony. They're ready for this football game. Ever since that loss to LSU, Nick Saban has called on the fans. He's called on this team to reassess their goals and really finish, as he calls it, the last quarter of this season and finish strong. So, you know, the Alabama fans are quietly optimistic. They think that they can do it. The way Alabama's been playing the past couple of games, they think they can pull it off. But they're also not in your face, because they also know that Cam Newton is a formidable foe. Obviously,
the number one thing for an Alabama fan is winning the national championship. That's what they live for. But would the number 2 thing for an Alabama fan be the opportunity to deny Auburn a chance to win the national championship? How big a deal is that for Alabama?
Absolutely huge, Tony. Again, as I mentioned earlier, after LSU, this team really had to reassess their goals, and they really had to dig deep and figure out who they were. And what I like about this team as well, very, very, very unselfish football team. They never blame each other. They always put it on their own backs, and they're really mini Sabans walking around talking about the process. And so they really have refocused their goals to winning the last quarter of this season, and they wouldn't even talk about the Iron Bowl. Nick Saban won't let them do that until this week. It was Mississippi State, then Georgia State, and now it's the Iron Bowl. But absolutely, Tony, that would salvage their season, so to speak.
Oh, mini Sabans. I love that. Okay. Hey, listen, let me ask you. I'm really curious. How does the Cameron Newton thing sort of play out on this stage? I mean, you sent me a picture where somebody, under the cover of darkness, had snuck onto campus and hung a Cameron Newton jersey on the statue of Bear Bryant. Are you kidding me? What's that going to be? What's it going to be like for Cameron Newton on Friday?
It's going to be tough for Cameron Newton, you know, but Cameron Newton thus far has done really well, where a lot of people would have, again, wilted and, you know, let the pressure, they would have caved under the pressure. Cameron Newton has done well. I mean, you know, he's ridiculous in his talents on and off the field. And until we know something for certain, Tony, I'm not willing to throw him in the fire. But in regards to that picture, yes, somebody was awfully brave to tape a T-shirt jersey onto that big statue of Bear Bryant. But it's just the way they live down here. It's something special. You mentioned it in your book, Southern Fried Football. Unless you've experienced it, you don't really understand it. It's a way of life here.
All right, Rachel, last question for me. Mark Ingram is your Heisman Trophy winner from a year ago. His numbers have been down. He had his knee scoped. There's a lot going on with Mark Ingram. What do you expect from Mark Ingram, and do we think that this is going to be Mark Ingram's last home game at Alabama?
Well, he was asked that the other day, and again, just like a mini Saban, you know, he wouldn't talk about it. He said, you know, what I can talk about is the Iron Bowl. I can't go ahead of that. We'll discuss that when the season is over. But it really all depends on where he grades out, Tony. If he's in you know, the first round, there's really a ceiling. You can't go any higher. You would expect him to go. But if he's, you know, in a later round, then maybe he stays and comes back. But really the matchup that I don't think a lot of people are talking about here, because everybody's talking about Cam Newton, is this Alabama offense versus the defense of Auburn. This Alabama offense has really come on strong the past couple of games. They really love that screen pass. They've had Julio Jones running the ball, Mark Ingram catching the ball, a lot of explosive plays the past couple of games. And so that's the matchup that I'm really looking for.
All right, Rachel Baribeau of TideExtra.com. Rachel, thanks a bunch. We'll see you on Friday in Tuscaloosa, okay?
Thanks, Tony.
Okay, still to come on the show, we'll crack open the tackle box to try and figure out why some college football players are behaving so poorly on the field.